Okay, this is a video for anyone who wants help buying a car. We'll use this one as it's one for sale. It's always frightening, especially if you don't know cars, but if you keep your wits about you and just use a bit of brain and a bit of observation skills and know what to look for, then you can save yourself a lot of money and get yourself a bargain. This one here has just had a lot done to it. I've just done a head gasket, coil packs, new ECU, and obviously if people are telling you that, you can look it up on the internet what these parts are and what they look like on the car, and you'll find them. So as you can see, you've got new coil packs here, you've got a new thermostat under there, with a new ECU under there, but it's a bit harder to see. Okay, so you've got a new ECU, and obviously this is your engine. There's a few things that you can check on your engine to make sure it's okay. Alright, take a look at the battery terminals, make sure they're nice and clean. Have a general look at it, see if there's any accident damage along these slam panels, see if they fit well, and obviously on the crumple zones down there to make sure they're alright. Same again with the other side. You can look for general leaks on this radiator hoses, make sure they're okay. You can take the cap off, whoops, she has been running. Take the cap off and check inside there. Check the cap for any oil residue that will look like a mayonnaise-y sort of stuff, and it will smell, which could say you've got a head gasket gone. It could also say you've just got an oil cooler gone and the water's going through into the oil's going through from the oil cooler because it's pressurized and into the water system. So it might not be a head gasket. This one we did the head gasket just because it had a misfire and they usually go between the two cylinders. You can check in here as well for any residue. I mean, as you can see from that one, it's absolutely clean. Sometimes you get a tiny bit of white milkiness, but that could just be due to it doing short journeys, so don't panic too much if there's a tiny smidge in there. Okay, have a general look at the belts to let you know if it's been serviced and how well it's been looked after. Just do your fluid levels, you can have a look at them. It also gives you another hint as to whether it's been looked after. Nothing wrong with coming and having a look under the engine bay, and all good sellers will say yeah, fine, and check the water, check the oil. Again, you can check the oil on the dipstick, make sure it's nice and clean if it's had an oil change recently. Put that back in there. Okay, and don't forget your cap, you can check in there. It can be black and cokey. I mean, some engines do get like that, and it might not have any detrimental effect on them. But apart from that, obviously, you want to hear it run. So most cars should pretty much start like that. When you're around the engine, you want to be listening for any rattles, any knocks, any shaking of that engine to show that there's a problem. You also... Can I rev this one? Yeah. Now when you rev an engine... When you're revving an engine, most people come and go, oh yeah, oh. Yeah, that sounds really good, but to be honest, that's not the way to test an engine. I mean, anyone can come and rev a car. You'll hear some bad knocks if the engine's really on the way out. But the best thing to do to see if your engine's okay is to bring the revs up very slowly. I'm doing this on the throttle, but you can do it on the inside with the accelerator. Okay, so you just bring the revs up very slowly, nice and easy. Nice and slowly bring those revs up. Now here you'd hear rattling or bad noises. And let it down, and when you let go to let it come back to an idle, you can always tell then if it comes back nice and quickly, the timing's on, and also whether it's juddery or whether it likes it. I mean, obviously that one's fine, that engine. So, close the bonnet. Make sure it's closed when you go for a drive. Oh, go for a drive. Still got that car key on, mate. Now then, when you're in the car and you're taking it for a test drive, obviously make sure you've got your insurance, put your belt on because obviously it's your responsibility. Have a look at your warning lights, make sure they've gone up. Have a look at the mileage, 49,000 mile, which is genuine, I'd say, from this one. We've got an airbag light on, we've got a warning light for the fuel, and we've also got the warning light to turn the airbag off for the passenger. Alright, so to be honest, they're not big ones to worry about. Red ones are, but all that airbag light is saying that there's a fault or there's an issue with the airbag and it might not be working. Okay, when you're taking the car out, what time are we on?
5 minutes.
When we're taking the car out, okay, you just drive it as you would do a normal car. Don't drive with the radio on. Leave it without the radio on. You can test how the gears are and whether they move into gear nicely and whether you're not having to force them in. Same with the clutch. Listen for noises when you put that clutch down, and you can do the same on an idle. So if you stop, put your foot on and off the clutch, and that will tell you whether or not the thrust bearing. If you put your foot down on the clutch and you hear a or whining, that could be a thrust bearing going. What?
Nothing.
As you're driving along, you can test the brakes. So get her up to a decent enough speed, and then you need to let go of the steering wheel, hit your foot on the brakes quite hard, and see if it dives to one side or the other. Alright, it's a very good point, but be ready to grab the steering wheel in case it is knackered and does jump off to the curb, because some cars will do that. So as you're going, you can take it round somewhere. If I can find somewhere and think of somewhere I can put it on full lock. Put the vehicle for the steering on full lock. Okay, so I don't know if I'll be able to do it here. So you put the vehicle on full lock and then drive away and listen for any knocking noises, any vibrations through the steering wheel, and any sort of rattles you might get. Again, go through the gears. I mean, you can go up to fifth gear and you're only doing 45 mile an hour or thereabouts. So it's all changing gear nice. Again, it's gone into gear nicely. Again, when you put your foot on the brakes quite firmly, you shouldn't have any vibrations. If you've got any vibrations, that could show that you've got discs that are warped. Again, not a major issue, but if there is evidence of an accident damage, well, yeah, maybe something to worry about. Again, ask the person you're buying the car off of the history if he's got any history. I mean, some people may have a car for a long time. Me, with this one, I've got no history on it, so I can't really say anything about it apart from where I got it from, which was from a salvage yard. What time are we on?
7 minutes 41.
So you can't really get a lot of history on it. One of the frighteners I've got with this car is there's no temperature gauge, and I'm a bit old school. I like my temperature gauges. So the other thing you do is check all your gears work. I was going to do it reverse there. Check all your gears work. I have been caught out at an auction and bought a car because it was a good car and it was cheap, and didn't go through the gears to see if all the gears were there, and got caught out and it didn't have any third gear, so I had to put a gearbox in it. So you can do that if you're at an auction and you're unable to drive the vehicle. Alright, what you can do is go and use all the gears. So put it in first gear, release the clutch enough so you feel the bite, into second, release the clutch so you can feel the bite. Do this with all the gears. It doesn't matter if it stalls. If anything, it's a good thing it stalls, because it shows you the clutch isn't whacked like that. Okay, and if you can't actually drive the car and you're just in an auction and you only have a limited amount of time, you can do that to show you all the gears are there, and you shouldn't have it jumping out of gear. Okay, I mean, you could always still buy them at the risk that you might have to put a new gearbox in.
Minute left.
So what are you on now?
9.
Oh, you can stop this on. Right, we'll do part 2 in a moment. I'll just pull over again. Take care.